A man that's being listed as a serial killer was also a paid FBI informant for years. Man was also a con man. So he broke many laws. He was a con man, serial killer. His name is Scott Kimball. And he tricked the FBI. Think about that for a minute. You know, everybody keeps touting about how good the FBI has been all these years. Well, we keep seeing that they keep doing things. You know, you take a look at Whitey Bulger and things like that. There's a reason why Kash Patel is trying to clean up the FBI. There is a reason why Donald Trump is trying to get the FBI cleaned up. Why Dan Bongino is trying to clean up the FBI. Because of things like this. Whitey Bulger, Scott Kimball. But I got an FBI, or FBI. I've got a Fox News article, and yes, it's collaborated by other sites, so it's interesting. It really is. We paid him money, knowing that he was a con man, and he was also taking the lives of others. Go figure. But yeah, I thought this was going to be an interesting story, so I'm going to delve into this article a little bit with you. If you want to know what's going on with the government, politics, whatever, anything dealing with the government, here we go. Hit like and subscribe because I am going to cover these stupidities. People need to know what's going on in our government. But I also am going back to other articles on occasion, and so that's why I make videos like this. So, here we go. Howdy, y'all. This is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. What we have here is a channel to communicate. I want you folks to be thinking by the time you leave my videos. Why? Because I'm tired of people talking via what other people tell them to think. So, watch my video and enjoy the chance to think for yourself. Also, in the description, I am going to link this article. A former FBI agent says a serial killer who doubled as an FBI informant for years manipulated agents into believing he was helping them, all the while preying on unsuspecting victims. Scott Kimball, who will likely spend the rest of his life in a federal prison in Colorado after he was sentenced to 70 years in 2009, he pleaded guilty to killing 4 people between 2003 and 2004. And his number of victims could be much higher, according to former Special Agent Johnny Gruesing. He made a game of tricking the FBI, Gruesing told Fox News Digital, adding that Kimball's case was unprecedented. As long as he won the game in front of him, that's all that mattered. To have someone who enjoyed manipulating us, putting stuff in our files, and then making people disappear was beyond anything I'd seen. Kimball, now 58, was a known serial fraudster who spent time in and out of prison during his youth and early adulthood. In the 90s, he practiced working the criminal justice system, becoming an informant for local police and blaming his crimes on cellmates. After 2001 arrest for check fraud in Alaska, he befriended his cellmate Steve Ennis, who had been charged in a drug case. To snake his way into a role as an FBI informant, a calculated Kimball convinced Ennis that he could make the drug case go away and that he had powerful connections that could have witnesses taken care of. During the jail stint, he also befriended Ennis's girlfriend, a stripper named Jennifer Markham. After planting the seeds of a murder-for-hire plot, Kimball reported to the FBI that Ennis was planning to have witnesses killed and shortly thereafter was granted confidential informant status. He was moved to a lower security prison and eventually released. A primary victim in our case was Jennifer Markham, Gruesing said. Mainly, he convinced Steve Ennis to hook him up with Jennifer to get Jennifer out of stripping, so that at the same time he's making Steve look like a bad guy, he's taking Jennifer and isolating her and killing her. By February 2003, Scott was a bona fide informant operating throughout the western United States, and Markham was dead. During his several-year span as an informant, Kimball was responsible for killing 4 people, including Markham. He would later confess to killing at least 21 people, and according to Gruesing, told his attorneys that he was responsible for 45 to 50 killings. His other alleged victims all remained unnamed. After his eventual arrest, authorities would learn that Scott killed Leanne Emery, another stripper whom he shot and left for dead in a remote desert area just 1 month prior to Markham's murder. In August of that year, Casey McLeod went missing. Her murder was eventually linked to Kimball, and he confessed to it. In 2004, Kimball killed his own uncle, Terry Kimball. In each case, the serial killer provided breadcrumbs to the FBI that ended up in the case files, including that he was the last person to be seen with two of the victims. In 2006, pressure from the victims' family members forced the FBI to begin investigating their own informant. And that's when two dads came to the FBI office to talk to my boss and say not only was Scott responsible for Jennifer's disappearance, but another girl named Casey was last with Scott, and that reporting was in the case file, said Gruesome. But Scott had mastered such that again he enjoyed the game, and it was like leaving little breadcrumbs to say, I'm so good at this, I can tell you about these homicides and you'll never know I'm doing them. In March 2006, Kimball was arrested in California on fraud-related charges. While he was in jail, the FBI built a case against him, and in 2009, he was officially charged with the murders. But the killer's manipulations of the FBI continued for years, and Grusing and others tried to get him to give up the locations of his victims' remains. He knew he was manipulating us, pointing us in different directions, but he's the only one who knew what happened to them, said Grusing. So even though it was painful to be in front of him and let him win all the time, as long as he thought he was squirming, he would always talk. So that's how I stayed with this man for 15 years. Eventually, McLeod and Emery's remains were recovered. At one point during Grusing's decade-and-a-half quest to get justice for more of Kimball's victims, the killer asked him why he had never been named like the other serial killers. Grusing asked what name Grusing would give himself. He said, the opportunity killer, because I just kill people when I have the opportunity. Arkham's remains have never been found. So I don't have to link it, but this shows you how incompetent the FBI was for many years. Look, I'm well aware that it's hard to get good people involved with criminals so you can use them to actually inform on what's going on. But the use of criminal informants is a flawed process. And too many times you see where these criminals are using the system for their own advantage. I mean, seriously, this guy was informing on folks, supposedly, while he was committing these crimes. The FBI seriously has many things that they need to get fixed, and this is one of them. We need to find a way to actually get this taken care of. Now, yes, we've got all these cameras and everything like that, and they're wanting to follow you, and they want to invade your privacy. But here's the thought process. Whitey Bulger was well known to be an exceedingly violent gang leader. He wasn't just a gang member, he was a gang leader, and you're using him as an informant. Nobody thought that this was wrong. Yes, the one agent was his friend and all that. This guy was a known confidential a con artist, confidential artist. You wouldn't think that he would lie to the FBI? I mean, seriously. You didn't think he would lie to the FBI? You didn't think that he would try to run a scam, so you're using this guy for this? Comes a point that common sense needs to be involved. But unfortunately, so many other cases, it's shown that the FBI is not willing to go and be neutral. They've shown so many times to want to use the wrong people. Hey, I have to admit, them turning Sammy Gravano, hey, masterpiece. Them turning several other members of the mob, hey, masterpiece. But how many murders were pardoned or whatever you want to call it went by the wayside because of what happened with Gravano? How many lives were destroyed by Gravano? and he got a few years in prison. You take a look at so much of what's going on in this world. Yes, I understand sometimes you have to make deals with the devil to be able to get the worse devil, or with the demon to get the devil. But this isn't okay when you're doing stuff like this. There really does need to be a fix to this. But I thought I'd bring this to your attention. This has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. So, folks, that's the story that I wanted to bring you on this video. And I just wanted to say thank you again for coming by. Well, hit like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff if you don't mind. Help me out. So, y'all have a good day now. Bye.